Morning. I've got a 2014 P85 Plus Tesla Model S, and today we're going to take it for a drive. We're going to drive it from 100% down to 0 and see how many kilometres we get out of it. The car's nearly 10 years old, and I've never tried draining the battery in one go to see actually how many kilometres I get out of it. The car reckons it'll do 380 k's. In my opinion, I seem to look like I could get 300 out of it, so that's quite a big difference. We will take it for a drive and see how far it goes. Nearly 10 years old. I probably don't look after it like I should. It's my daily driver, and so it gets used as my runaround and also for trips. We have driven this car all over the country. But we do tend to stop and charge up quite regularly. Normally I keep it between the 20 and 80%, but today I've charged it up to 100%, and we will drive it until it gets to 0. We're in Christchurch. I'm basically going to head south towards Timaru. Central Timaru is about 170 kilometres, so therefore a return trip would be 340. Predominantly flat straight roads, pretty boring, 100 kilometres an hour most of the way. Pass through a few towns along the way, but basically we're just going to cruise with the traffic. We're not going to do anything strange or crazy. I tend to set cruise control on about 95. The speedo in this car doesn't seem to have a buffer like most Japanese cars do, so most cars sitting on 100 seems to show as 95 on here, so that's about where I sit. Yeah, we're just interested to see battery capacity, the usable capacity that I have from indicated 100 to indicated 0. P85, let's get moving. We'll get driving. This car, 85 kilowatt hour battery, that's nominal. From what I understand, its usable capacity is 81 kilowatt hours. Or hang on, maybe that's it has a buffer, I believe, of 4 kilowatt hours. So its usable capacity, from what I've read online, so its total capacity is 81 kilowatt hours. Usable capacity, when new, 77.5. This car's currently showing around 92% state of health after 9 years. It's currently done 89,000 kilometres. As I said, it's been in this country. I've had it for just over 2 years. Previous to that, it lived its life in Japan. Possibly didn't do a heap of mileage in those. Well, 6 years it had done 55,000 k's, so it had done about 10,000 k's a year prior to my ownership, and then I've done a little bit more than that. I've done about 35,000 k's in the 2 years that I've owned it. Most of that town running and a trip here and there, around about. We have travelled all over the South Island in this car on holidays, and we've also been up as far as Palmerston North. We've been across on the ferry and around the North Island. Being a Japanese imported car, it has the Tesla US NACS connector, the North American charging system, and so I have to use adapters with that. I do have I have an adapter which lets me plug into a standard type 1 to type 2 cable and charge at 7 kilowatts, which is what I do at home or at work, and also have the Chademo adapter, which lets me use the ChargeNet or similar 50 kilowatt fast chargers, where this car doesn't really do more than about 46 kilowatts peak, and it does slow down considerably from that as it gets especially above 80% if you're fast charging. I believe they had some problems with these batteries in the early days, and so Tesla changed the charging algorithm so that they would, obviously I can't multitask, let me drive. Tesla changed the algorithm so that the cars charged somewhat slower. I believe in about the first 3 years there was some problems with some batteries, so it's a bit frustrating. It certainly doesn't charge anything like the newer cars do, or a Model 3 or a Model Y. But I'm a big fan of Tesla, and so yeah, and I like the Model S. For about the same money I could have bought at the time a Model 3, and I decided I wanted the bigger car with, obviously it doesn't have autopilot or a lot of fancy gizmos, but it's more of a performance vehicle, air suspension. It's a much bigger car, more comfortable, which is kind of what I'm used to. So time will tell whether I've made the wrong decision. I don't know. Done a good thing or a bad thing. Obviously when something goes wrong I have no warranty. I've done some repairs myself already, fixed up a couple of things. I've had a door handle go, but quite happy to pull the car apart myself and fix things myself. I've always done that since I was a young lad, and obviously I don't see why it should be any different with the Tesla. I have an electrical background, work in the electricity supply industry. I have worked with normal house voltages as an electrician for many years, and also with higher voltage as well. So 400 volts DC doesn't frighten me. It's certainly something to be scared of if you have an accident, but I believe if you take the proper precautions and disconnect things and work safely, then there's no reason why someone such as myself can't do my own repairs. Yeah, anyway, we're going to take a drive. My plan is to, as I said, head to Timaru or down that way. I'm basically going to drive until the car gets to 50%, and then we'll turn around and make our way back. Maybe not quite 50%. I'd rather be, as we're getting to zero, I'd rather be quite close to home. If something's going to happen, or the car might stop, I don't want to have to walk a long way. Got out of Christchurch, currently on the southern motorway, heading towards Rolleston. Traffic's been moving quite quickly, so cruise control set on 100 kilometres an hour, and we've gone from 100 down to 94% quite quickly. Not sure what to think about that. I put into the navigation Timaru Pick and Save, which is sort of in the middle of Timaru from what I can see. When I started off, it was predicting I would arrive with 50% battery, and I would arrive back home with -1 if I was to return the other way. Interesting, that I'm going to use more coming back than I am going down. So, however, in the few kilometres we've done so far, it's now saying I should arrive with 54% battery, and I should arrive home with 1%. So that figure will move around a bit from what I understand. Just let this truck merge. So time will tell. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting drive. As I said, I've never done 100% to a 0% drive in one go before. I've wanted to do it for a long time, and but you know how it is, finding the time and the opportunity to sort of do that. So decided today's the day. So we'll I'm videoing it. I don't know if this is ever going to see the light of day. I don't really know what I'm doing. I haven't used the camera very much. I'm probably waffling, talking rubbish. I'm no Gavin Shoebridge, that's for sure. But hopefully someone might find this interesting if I can somehow splice it all together into a short video once I'm done, with some statistics. And as far as Rakaia, now we have a look at where is it? Trips. Done 71 kilometres. It's taken an hour since I left home. Average energy consumption so far 173 watt hours, so that's slightly better than 5 kilometres per kilowatt hour. 12 kilowatt hours consumed to do 72 k's according to the car. I'm never sure whether that figure says total energy. Does that include the aircon? Never 100% sure whether that is the case. But yeah, we're on 82%, not too far from Ashburton. Yeah, I'll give you another update a bit further down. So far, yeah, things going pretty smoothly, traffic flowing fine. Had cruise control sitting on 96, 97 kilometres an hour. Yeah, there's been a few people overtake me on the passing lanes. I'm quite happy just to cruise along. 16 degrees and sort of cloudy when I left home. The weather's cleared up quite a bit. It's probably 50% blue sky out there now. Did get up to 21. Currently in Rakaia it's 20 degrees, so partly cloudy, so it's not too bad. So yeah, everything going well, and we'll see how we go. Flat, straight road. This is pretty much what it's like the whole way. There's no hills, no twisty turny bits. Yeah, so possibly not terribly indicative of South Island roads. A lot of South Island roads have quite twisty turny up and over the hills. Obviously that makes quite a difference to your range, power consumption. But this is a nice easy drive just to get some idea of how far the car will go. Over in Ashburton, mainly because the suction mount that I had the camera on the windscreen fell off and the camera collapsed on the floor, so need to pull over to stick that back up here somewhere. So far Ashburton, let's see, we've come 100 kilometres, 1 hour 23 minutes. Average energy 167 watt hours per kilometre. That's very, very good for me. Normally I'm up much closer to 200. However, I have spent quite a bit of time, as you would have seen in that bit of video I took before. I was following a truck, so I have followed a truck for some considerable distance. I didn't mean to, and obviously that makes a difference to your consumption. Batteries now just dropped. It was 76, it's just showing 75% capacity, and it's showing I've used 17 kilowatt hours. So 17 kilowatt hours appears to be 25% of the battery. At this rate we'll be able to go 400 k's on a charge. I might be out here all day. Anyway, we're still heading for Timaru. And yeah, I guess we'll move on. Yeah, I'm surprised. I did set the car to charge and be ready by a certain time this morning. I also set it to precondition the battery and put the aircon on, so the car was already preheated. So I guess that makes a difference, that you're not wasting battery on that. So yeah, when I left home, 100% battery. The cabin was already warm. As I said, it was 16 degrees at home when I left. Currently in Ashburton we've got 20 degrees and mostly sunny. So that's probably helping. The aircon's running slightly to keep the car to cool down, and I can hear the coolant pump running also for the battery. So obviously the battery's definitely not cold. That's obviously helping as well. Down in Caroline Bay, came down the loop road towards the port and pulled into car park here where the park is. Yeah, made it here. Let's have a look for some stats. What have we got? Trips. So we're on 57%. So we've used 43% to get here. It's predicting I'm going to use 50% to get home. That could be right. It could be worse than that, because another thought occurred to me. I've done very, very well economy wise coming here. Average energy, hang on, let's have a look. So let's get rid of that. So yeah, 180 kilometers we've driven, 2 hours 31 minutes, 165 watt hours per kilometer. That's probably the best economy I've ever got. 30 kilowatt hours. So 30 kilowatt hours is 43% of the battery. So I can't work that out in my head. I'll have to do that later. But the other thought that's occurred to me, of course, is that we've been heading southwest slightly, and the wind today is a northeasterly. So effectively, in addition to the truck that I followed to start with, it looks like I've also got might have had a backwind, so that might have something to do with it. We will find out on the trip back north, because heading north I will have a headwind. Update, currently driving through Ashburton, 24 degrees and mostly sunny. I wasn't expecting it to be such a nice day today. It was meant to be low cloud, drizzle. Well, that was Christchurch, I guess. That's why I thought it was a good day to do it. Not much of a day for going outside. However, turns out, well, down here anyway, beautiful. Higher consumption, definitely, probably somewhere between 5 and 10% more. We have been doing faster speeds, however. Until we got caught behind some agricultural machinery. But currently, to get home, 95 k's to go, according to Google, and cars on 37%. So it says I'm going to arrive with roughly 10% battery. So looks like we will be making a detour once we get closer to Christchurch. Instead of going through town across to the east side where I live, we might just stay on the motorway, go across the top of Christchurch past the airport onto the northern motorway. Looking at the trip data, so we should be right on the 400 kilometres by the look of it. We've done 393 and I've got 8.1 to go, so we might just crack the 400. That would be I'd be very impressed with that. So I mean, I've had the aircon on, it's still on now. We're back to 16 degrees outside and aircon's still on 20.5, pretty much where it's been. When the sun was out earlier, I turned it down to 20. It felt a little bit warm, but once the sun went away, so it's back on what I normally have it set on. I did turn on range mode about 10 minutes after leaving home. I suddenly realised I'd forgotten to do that, so that then limits how much power it puts into the aircon, I believe, and to help with getting more range out of the battery. So 7.1 k's to go, we're on 2% battery, still on 2%. And we're coming off this road, so the rest of it's going to be pretty much at 50 kilometres an hour. In traffic too, which always helps. I don't know about the car, but I feel like I'm in turtle mode now. So 2%, 4.9 k's to go. My battery power has been limited to about 200 kilowatts now. So the yellow line no doubt will keep dropping as we go. So we won't try any launches off the line. I think we'll just puddle along with the traffic. 1.3 kilometres to go, still on 1%. Almost there. So quite know how we make this work. Still on 1%, less than a kilometre now. I don't know that it would have been very good coming down the motorway. It would have consumed quite a bit more at 100 kilometres an hour, or even if I'd gone 90. So we're just about home, just trying to get it to 0 really. I'm actually going around the block because it's still on 1%. So now we've done it. That's 0 on the dash, so let's turn around quietly. Interesting, when I slowed down to do the U-turn, it went from 0 to 1%, and then it's gone back to 0 now, so we're on 0%, and I'm 400 metres from home, so here's hoping. I am quietly crawling, well, 45 kilometres an hour, 2 more corners, nearly there, 200 metres from home, on 0%. Still telling me I've got limited my battery power, engine power to 160 kilowatts. I don't think we'll be trying that anytime soon, not when it's on 0. Here we go, up the driveway. And looks like I've made it. Go straight into the garage, I think. Because once I stop it, it may not want to restart on 0. So we might as well drive right in, and I can plug it in. Make sure I'm in. I am in. Into park, battery too low. Right, hang on, we'll lift this off. Right, made it. Bring the screen up. So, there's my tyre pressures, 44, 45 psi. Started off today, I think, on about 42, 43. So they've come up a bit. 42, 40, maybe 41 at the front and 42, 43 at the rears. Okay, let's have a look at the trip display. So, distance from Timaru, where I started, 222, 3 hours, 176 watt hours, so 403 kilometres is what we've done. Our total trip today, 69 kilowatt hours, so I guess that's pretty much the battery capacity. 171 watt hours per kilometre, so yeah, pretty happy with that. Yeah, made it. Right, well, very surprised by the distance. Yeah, 403 kilometres. Took about 5 hours, but yeah, Tesla were right, I was wrong. Next experiment will have to be the Kaikoura run, I suppose. Do some hills and some windy, and try that and see what difference that makes. But maybe in a few weeks' time.